Welcome to Fulci Metal Jacket, where we curate and celebrate film on the outer fringes of the mainstream. Humongous from 1982 was one of those examples of video box art that really caught my eye as a kid. The premise of this one is that due to a fairly convoluted series of events, a bunch of young friends on a yacht run aground on an island off the coast of Canada, dotted with keep out signs and filled with rabid guard dogs, kind of like where I am today. We see how rabid these guard dogs are in a pretty rough prologue at the start of the movie. Now, these young friends aren't at all likeable, to say the least, arguably less so than your average 80s slasher movie, which is interesting because Humongous is Canadian-made, so you'd think that they'd be more sympathetic, likeable and polite, to say the least. But these guys are none of the above. They're all quite despicable in their own way, all quite unlikable, and all quite antisocial. Anyway, it turns out that the real danger on the island is the titular creature, Humongous. Not to be confused, of course, with the Lord Humongous, the warrior of the wasteland, the Ayatollah of rock and roller from Mad Max 2. So Humongous in this case isn't the guy out of Mad Max 2 or the Road Warrior. He is the deformed and freakish mutant son of an eccentric recluse who lives alone on the island. Humongous has a face only a mother could love, so much so that the film never really shows it to us at all, which is effective in its own way, I guess. And for some reason, the little we do see of Humongous did remind me mostly of Mankind from the WWF or the Monster Abyss from TNA. Or, of course, Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So this one is, of course, heavily influenced by Friday the 13th, or to be more precise, influenced by Friday the 13th Part 2. There's a little cosplay scene in the final act that'll be very familiar to fans of the second instalment of the Friday the 13th franchise. You'll see what's coming if you know that movie and you see this movie. And tonally, this is a very unusual entry into the whole 80s slasher craze. It has a great opening credits sequence of black and white photos and bursts of colour that'll almost fool you into thinking that you're seeing the kind of movie that usually screens in art house revival theatres. And most of the characters behave oddly, to say the least, although I'm not entirely sure if that's intentional or just poor execution overall. And being Canadian, even though it's a slasher movie, it does have that warm, comfy maritime sensibility that so many of these Canadian horror films do. That really warm and fuzzy feeling. It's a really fun, warm little slow burn horror movie that transcends most Halloween or Friday the 13th rip-offs out there. This is the sort of movie, I guess, that you can snuggle up to on a cold, drizzly Sunday under a doona with a hot chocolate. From Tim Hortons, of course. And the director, Paul Lynch, mainly only made episodic television, so you name it, he directed an episode. Paul Lynch directed episodes of Ray Bradbury Theatre, RoboCop the series, Sliders, Dark Shadows, Star Trek The Next Generation, FX the series, Baywatch Nights, Tour of Duty, Star Trek The Next Generation, The Outer Limits, New Twilight Zone, the list goes on. You name it, he's directed an episode. But probably his most notable feature is probably Prom Night from 1980 with Leslie Nielsen and Jamie Lee Curtis. And I think this film would make a good little double bill with American Gothic. Not the great Sam Raimi series, mind you. I mean the 1988 horror classic that also has those great Canadian maritime horror vibes. And something nice to enjoy with this one, if you're after something nice to eat or drink while watching Humongous, could be some nice Atlantic salmon with veggies, washed down with a big buttery Okanagan Chardonnay. I'll leave a link to the trailer in the description and any other Easter eggs that I can find on this film. Thanks for joining me here on Fulci Metal Jacket. I'll try to upload here at least once a week. If you did enjoy this content, please help a brother out by liking, sharing and subscribing. And I hope to see you again soon. I better head off out of here. It's getting dark. I better head out of the area before Humongous arrives on the scene. So until next time, take it easy.